Well, we're excited to be in downtown Pensacola for this week's Coast Up Close at Generation Church. Our good friend Pastor Roger Hurth had a vision for a cafe, coffee shop outreach, and it has now become reality. The Rex Cafe is open, and we're here to celebrate this grand opening. We're going to be talking with Associate Pastor Luis Renaud, Annie Gray, and talk about all the happenings here at this brand new coffee shop. Plus, we're going to have highlights of the Gospel Invasion outreach. You probably have seen Victoria Osborne, this young fireball for the Lord who has a passion for souls. Well, this outreach is happening this weekend. We're going to be showing you highlights of that. Multiple churches coming together for one purpose, and that is an outreach for the harvest. And so we're just excited about that more than anything. Plus, part two of Lieutenant Colonel Marine retired David T-Bone Trumbley, and talking about healthcare freedom, particularly how it relates to the military. You don't want to miss this very important article coming up. But listen, we're going to go inside and show you what's all happening at this brand new Rex Cafe. Come on.
I'm actually drinking a vanilla latte, warm.
I got a cold brew with vanilla sweet cream.
Just regular black coffee.
Iced popcorn latte with oat milk, or I get a honey lavender latte with oat milk, and I also like the iced green teas.
Popcorn latte is the signature latte, and it's so good. It comes with a little piece of popcorn.
Yeah, my wife just cannot believe that I do not drink coffee. Never liked the taste. So I've come to the Rex Cafe coffee shop thinking that's all they had here, but no, they've got tea, and I love tea. So looking forward to my flavored peach tea coming up.
Anybody that comes in today, David Mayo will pay for your coffee.
Well, I love making coffee because I think it really brightens people's days. Everybody needs a good cup of coffee to start their day right. And I feel like I'm contributing to making people's day better. And so that's why I love making coffee. I love the smell. I love the fact that it connects people together. It's kind of just providing a divine beverage that people can enjoy and agree on. So it's really awesome. It's very rewarding.
I host a small group here with a group of ladies who are in business in Pensacola, and we come together at the Rex Cafe every other Wednesday this summer. Just love coming here, and it's so comfortable, and it's fun. It's good to get the girls together who work and serve in this community and meet downtown. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And Pensacola's great and it's growing, so to have a little place that you can come and just sit and, read or, meet people, it's been amazing.
Well, I'm here with my new friend, Luis Renaud, who is the associate pastor here at Generation Church and also the manager of the Rex Cafe. And let's talk about your mission and your heart for having a coffee shop right in this vibrant downtown Pensacola area.
Yeah, absolutely. So famous author Mark Batterson has described coffee shops as modern well. And I think it's really the right term because the way it was before, when you wanted to have interactions with other people, you would go to a well. Back in the days, in Jesus' days, you would go to a well. We have this story in the Bible of the Samaritan woman, going to a well and meeting Jesus. It was a meeting place. But today, Mark Batterson is saying that coffee shops are modern well. Yes. This is where people go and connect between work and home. You have this third place where you can interact and share life. So I feel like coffee shops is the perfect environment to do mission as a church, but also bring life and joy and peace to the community.
Yes.
So this is what excites me about coffee shops in general, but especially this project here. Yeah.
We moved here so that my husband could help start up this project of the Rex Cafe inside the building of the Rex Theater, which has the Generation Church as well. And so, it's just been an adventure for him to start up this project and to work with the designer and the whole team here, all the staff, and just have a place of blessing, have a place of just peace for people to come and enjoy really good coffee.
I really, really like their signature latte, the popcorn one. And then I'm a big fan of tea, and they always work with me with like London Fog type teas. So yeah, that's kind of thing. And then for my wife, she loves the iced caramel macchiatos. Those are always a good go-to. Yeah.
It's beautiful to see the life that's going on, and that is the major reason for having this cafe that's been on our heart for a long time. I know that you've probably seen already Luis, who is managing the cafe, but wow, a pastor, a church planner, he's French, coming from Europe. He was very, very specific on how we were to run this cafe. It has a very European feel. It's not your typical place to go here in Pensacola. It's very, very different.
And let me ask you, of course, there's several coffee shops, in downtown Pensacola. So what would you say really makes the Rex Cafe kind of a standout?
Now, a standout?
Yes.
Oh yeah, there are so many great coffee shops. I think for us, it's our not just attention to detail in our coffee. That is one thing that we wanted to focus on, was making sure that every cup was excellent.
Yeah.
We don't care. We don't want to be over the rooftop. We don't want to be over sugarized. I mean, there is a place for those. We just wanted to serve a delicious cup of coffee and be simple about it. So I think simplicity and paying attention to those details of how the flavor of the coffee is definitely a standout for us. And then the other thing too, it's we have this unique blend of old Hollywood and European vibe with Pastor Louise on the helm.
Yes.
We wanted to bring a little bit of a different flair. Our church is actually very international. We have quite a few of native from France here and a few others. And so we really wanted to incorporate that feel. Half of our staff are missionaries. And so they all come from overseas mostly before they settled in Pensacola. So we wanted to bring some of that flavor, mix it with the traditional historical aspect of the Rex Theater, bringing a place like the Rex to Pensacola and opening it up to the community. So I think it's that kind of vibe, and then paying attention to the delicious coffee.
There are a lot of coffee shops in town, but this place is a wonderful place to come because of the history, because of the customer service, and because of the welcome feeling that's here.
This is a wonderful place, actually. And the first time we've been in here, but won't be the last.
I think it's so cute and retro, and I hope everybody comes to visit.
And so we do invite you to come down and to enjoy the Rex Cafe.
Was tempted by your smile. I was tempted, and for a little while I was certain. I was tempted, and the promises, the lies just keep hurting. They just keep on hurting, but I won't be the one to change you, and you won't be mine.
So Gospel Invasion Pensacola was really birthed from a season of prayer where the Lord gave me a word for Pensacola and this Gulf Coast region. He said, I want you to unify the churches for the sake of the gospel. So Gospel Invasion Pensacola, the whole vision behind it has been to unify the churches in the city, to equip them in evangelism and sharing the gospel, and then to do a massive outreach where we really reach the local community through an event like this, where we will be sharing the gospel here.
We have so many things planned for the kids. We've got bouncy houses and face painting and salvation bracelets and concession stands and food trucks, and we're going to have amazing music in the evening. So it's a great event to come out, bring your children, bring your friends. Here's an amazing message from the people from Christ for All Nations that have come into town for the event.
The Gospel at Maritime, this is an event, a 3-day event, Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night from 4 in the afternoon to 8 p.m. About 20 of us churches have come together and have unified to work together to begin to really build the excitement of sharing the good news with people in Pensacola. And we're believing that this is going to be a transformational weekend for this entire city, entire area.
I really feel like Gospel Invasion Pensacola is so important for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's because there has to be an urgency in sharing the gospel. I think we have found ourselves in a time where we have become very complacent in the church, where we've lost a sense of urgency in sharing the gospel. However, the Bible tells us that night is coming and we must labor while it is still day. And we're in a window of time right now, but once that door shuts, it can never be reopened. And so there's got to be an urgency that's restored back into the local church to share the gospel, to no longer sit on the sidelines while we watch the enemy just overwhelm and take over this territory and this nation. But it's time for the churches to be on the front lines. And the second reason I really feel like Gospel Invasion Pensacola is super important for right now is because I do believe we're on the cusp of a move of God that we've never yet seen before. The darker the world gets, the more excited and expectant Christians should become, because we were made for this time. We were made to be the light of the world, a city on a hill that cannot be hidden. And the thing is that once the night comes, the light shines the brightest, the darker that it becomes. So I believe that the next move of God is going to be on the streets. It's not going to be confined to a church or to a building. And we've really been seeing that as we've been getting ready for Gospel Invasion. That chains are going to be broken here tonight. That anxiety is going to be broken here tonight. That depression is going to be broken here tonight. So tonight is a night that can change the rest of your life.
And love was very foreign to me.
Yo no conocía el amor.
Very strange.
Era muy raro.
It was true love.
Era el amor verdadero.
But I was searching for love in all the wrong places.
Pero yo buscaba el amor en todos los lugares equivocados.
I have had an opportunity to work in unity with other churches in preparation for this event. We've had citywide worship nights and prayer nights of intercession to come and just sow in seeds with our prayers for the Lord to come and move in a mighty way. And it's been so powerful, the unity that has come from those nights.
Because now we have a core group of churches that really want to get together. And like I said before, it isn't in a denominational sect or an individual belief sect. It's common churches coming together for the first time, really joining together, praying together, serving together, working together. We've been laboring for 4 months towards this goal.
So the positive effect for the churches putting this on has really made us come together and partner together, not only in sharing the gospel, but working together as far as praying for the city. So interceding for the city, coming together and just laying things aside and just saying, we just want to see God move and bless the city, bless marriages, bless homes, bless children. So that's been awesome to watch the churches come together and network.
Everybody's invited to Gospel Invasion Pensacola. Your mom, your brother, your cousin, your sister, you, your kids, every single person who has breath in their lungs and needs healing in their body even is invited to this event. We have so much to offer here, but most importantly, there's hope that's going to be on this field. There's chains that are going to be broken on this field. These addictions that are going to be broken on this field, and there's new life that's going to take place right here on our own soil.
I'm so pleased to have on the set with me Lieutenant Colonel David T-Bone Trumley, United States Marine Corps retired. Phenomenal story chronicled in this amazing book, Grounded and Cured. You'll definitely want to get a copy of this. And of course, I hope you saw recently the big article on David's testimony and this amazing story about how he beat with faith in God and a 100% natural holistic approach in nutrition and elsewhere to beat a very serious lethal form of cancer. And so T-Bone, welcome back.
Hey, it's good to be back.
Yes, awesome. And just recently now, I saw you on another battlefront that you're engaged in.
Yes, sir.
At the Religious and Medical Freedom Rally we had at the Wahoo Stadium.
Yes, sir.
You did a phenomenal job. Your prayer, his prayer to open up the rally was just brought revival, at least into my soul, that was for sure. But then you transitioned into introducing a couple of military friends, students, that are being no short of a word persecuted, basically.
Absolutely.
For their position on the vaccine and their conviction that this is not something that's for the health of their body, and the persecution, and even beyond persecution, but actually in threat of being kicked out of military service, what they're called to do. That's just, to me, unbelievable in the land of the free.
Tonight we'll hear from some of these brave frontline warriors. And I got to spend the last 2 days listening to them speak. I'm blown away by their moral courage. I'm blown away by how much knowledge they have. And I'm thrilled that you came out to hear what they have to say. Thank you, my friends, for your boldness and for your leadership.
People need to stand up, and that's what we're doing. We're getting the word out. We're letting people know that there are great Americans, morally courageous, people of faith, not just born-again Christians, but of many faiths, who have a problem with the fact that they're being mandated to take a non-FDA approved product. And they're saying no, and they're fighting it through the system with religious exemptions, religious accommodations, even medical accommodations, and they're all coming back carte blanche just to no. And I firmly believe, and I know this sounds like it's very strong words, but I firmly believe that what we're seeing is a purge of morally courageous military members who are willing to say no to an order that they believe is unlawful, and they're coming back denied. They're appealing it, those are coming back denied. And after 2 denials, they're being faced with Article 92 disciplinary actions and being separated, not honorably, and that has a negative connotation and impact on the rest of their lives. And we're fighting it, and there's good news on that front, thankfully.
An expression of sincerely held beliefs may not be used as the basis of any adverse personal action. Discrimination, denial of promotion, schooling, training, or assignment. Yet in spite of this order, in September, during the frenzy of the mandates, I learned of 13 Marines right here at Matson 21. Of those 13 Marines, of which were singled out for not taking the shot, 2 were flight instructors. The other 11 are students that I would have had the privilege to train as their instructor.
And we have the facts and the material that has been delivered to local commands, local commanders, that it is illegal and is actually being utilized in court cases these days to help them find some relief, that it is illegal.
Oh, well, T-Bone, let me just ask you this, a little bit of, I would say devil's advocate in a way, but you know, so many of our viewers have taken the vaccine. They say no, they've had no problems. What's the big deal? Why don't they just go ahead and take the vaccine? I mean, they've taken dozens of other vaccines before. So what's the real problem?
Yeah, so David, that's a fair question. And the reality is there are so many that are watching that have had reactions. And the numbers are absolutely staggering. This DMEDS database, this is the military database that has all of the disease input, said, hey, if you look at this data from 2021, you will see that we have rapidly increased anything from female infertility by 473%, testicular cancer by 302%, hypertension by 2,181%, and there's dozens. But just taking those 3 right there, female infertility, testicular cancer, a young man's disease, and hypertension, and you run those numbers up in 1 year, that was the increase over what you had in the previous 5 years from 2016 to 2020. And you go and look at that, and yet what's changed? Non-FDA approved, non-scientific, non-proven COVID vaccines. And so all that these brave men and women are asking for is, hey, I just want to be able to, you know, if I want it, I want it. If I don't, I don't. And since it's not FDA approved, you can't mandate it. So I can't argue with you, you're the commander, but what I can do is put in a religious accommodation. I can put in a medical waiver request. And I'll answer your question this way. You said, but we've taken shots. I was in for 25 years. I took all my shots in the beginning. I actually took the anthrax shot, the one that was not FDA approved, not realizing it, deployed and came back from that deployment 9 months later. That's when I found out that I had my rare bone cancer. Now, I never went out there and said, I got cancer because I took this shot. I just focused on beating cancer and just putting it in God's hands, and God miraculously brought the healing.
Yeah.
But here we are 21 years later. And 21 years later, I want to speak out for informed consent, medical freedom, religious freedom, and where religious freedom and medical freedom come together, that's that informed consent that we're talking about. I had informed consent based on my beliefs and based on the fact that no one else had beat it, and I wanted to go down this natural path. I made a choice. And 21 years ago, my military leaders, the colonels that were right here in Pensacola, the Navy captain that I worked for as well, and the general that had at one point been my two-star general, all supported me, not only in fighting cancer the way I wanted to, but climbing back in the cockpit. And in that book, I honor that great leadership, and I say thank you to those who need it. God gets the glory, my wife and these military members, these natural doctors, even some of my military doctors, they get credit for being supportive.
Sure.
I don't know a single active duty or reserve officer today or enlisted member who has the moral courage to stand up and fight this, that could write a book like that because they don't have leadership that is backing them and supporting them. They're pushing them out and saying these very words, hey, I'm sorry, it's nothing personal, it's just policy. I don't make policy, I just enforce it. That's what leadership does. Leadership pushes back against policy. And those are hollow words. As far as I'm concerned, these men and women that are in leadership positions should stand up at the risk of their careers, just like this one commander did over in
at Hobart.
Yes, sir.
The staggering numbers of active duty military members and reservists pushing back against Secretary Austin's unlawful execution of the mandate and the service chiefs sent a shockwave through the senior leadership of the military. They had not been faced with a significant challenge like that since the unlawful execution of the anthrax mandate over 2 decades ago.
So the good news, T-Bone, is the American Act, sponsored by our own Florida Senator Rubio, Senator Ted Cruz, at least 10 others, have come up with this to really give relief to these military active duty and reservists that are taking this moral courage and basically supporting them and say, hey, no, they cannot be kicked out, basically for this position. Am I got this right?
Yeah, you're right on spot, David. So you've got one other name that I just think is worth mentioning for your audience to know, because I think it's important for your audience if they hear this and they recognize the threat that our military is under. Like, we have an opportunity to stand up and defend our military so that they will be available to stand up and defend us.
Right.
And so that's exactly what Senator Cruz, Senator Rubio, and one other name is Senator Ron Johnson. And I think that's a very powerful supporter, a very powerful advocate for the military. And so what happened recently, as I believe it was May 10th, these 13 senators basically came together and they co-sponsored a bill that basically says, you can't push these individuals out. You need to accept their religious accommodations. You can't discipline them for saying no for what we're asking. And they're saying, give them the FDA approved one, if there is one, and if there's not, and we know that there's not, then you can't punish them. And there's a few more key things in there, and it's virtually everything that since September of this past year, when I learned that these 13 Marines down in Pensacola were benched, 2 instructors and 11 students were benched, said you can't fly because you won't take the vaccine. They were pulled from training because of their religious beliefs. That is against an order that was written on 12 July 2021 and signed by our Commandant, General David Berger. So they're breaking their own rules. And I've been a staunch, advocate, speaking not only to them, but for them, because they can't talk. Friday, you heard one of those captains speak to an entire audience because he left the military that day. And he had the freedom to speak freely of the bullying and the badgering.
We're not allowed as naval aviators to have more than 3 to 4 cups of coffee a day, 450 milligrams of caffeine, or take supplements, but we're forced by the Secretary of Defense to take an experimental agent and go fly aircraft right here in your hometown.
So now it's time for every one of us to reach out to Rubio and even cross state lines and reach out to Johnson and Cruz and all of them and say thank you for supporting our sons and our daughters and our brothers and our sisters and our fathers and our mothers that serve in uniform. Thank you. And then also reach out to those that haven't signed on yet. And let's get out there, because now we actually have the tool to make this entire thing go away. Pass that legislation, and get the Secretary of Defense and the Joint Chiefs to step back away from their illegal activity. And as a retired Lieutenant Colonel with 25 years of service, it is not an easy thing for me to say that my Commandant, the Secretary of Defense and the Joint Chiefs are acting illegally, but that's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah. Ooh. Let's don't even get started on the Commander-in-Chief.
Well, I'm not going to go there because here's the irony. His mandate, if you talk to the lawyers, and I have, if you talk to the lawyers, the mandate in and of itself is not illegal. The argument is not the mandate. The argument is the execution of the mandate, because even the Biden administration's mandate says that this is a requirement to take the FDA-approved vaccine.
Yeah.
There are no FDA-approved vaccines in the United States, regardless of what you're hearing on TV. We know, and that is documented, and Senator Johnson knows it, and he sent that letter to the Secretary of Defense, Lloyd Austin. We're going to win this, Dave.
Yeah. Well, there's 2 action items here. One, of course, is as believers, we pray. Timothy tells us that first of all, we pray and give thanks and intercession for those in authority. Proverbs tells us that the heart of the king is in the hand of the Lord. He'll turn it whichever way he will. And that's often dependent on our prayers and intercession. So that's number 1. Number 2, action, call in your congressman and your senator. I know we reach into Mississippi, Alabama, Northwest Florida. So 3 states right there that can need to hear from you to support the America's Act and support our military going through such persecution and just bullying and being even kicked out. And so, those are 2 our action items.
Couldn't said it better.
Yeah. T-Bone Trumbley.
Hoorah. Appreciate you giving us the audience.
Yeah, amen. Wow, what a great Coast Up Close this was. I know you enjoyed it here. So happy about the Rex Cafe at Generation Church here in downtown Pensacola on Palafox. The grand opening is happening, so come on down and have a sip the soul experience here at the Rex Cafe. But listen, I do want to thank David T-Bone Trumbley. What an amazing man. What a great story and passion he has for freedom. And so just so important that we lift up and pray for our leaders in our country and our military, so our military can have the freedom that they so much deserve and make the choices based on their own conscience. And so, so critical we lift up our leaders in prayer. Also, thank Victoria Osborne and many others, the vision for the gospel invasion to bring the gospel, the good news, down to the Gulf Coast and the Wahoo Stadium area. And so listen, thank you. Be praying for the continual discipleship of those who have been touched and brought to the Lord through this gospel outreach. Well, listen, somewhere along the Gulf Coast, you're going to find us having a good time in Him. Be blessed, everyone.